YouTube? We're back with another reaction. Right now we got ranking the Batman Arkham games from worst to best. Of course, this is going to be somebody's opinion, and I'm going to give my opinion on the best Arkham games from, you already know. All I gotta say is, y'all in the comment section, let us know, let me know, y'all, what y'all think about the Batman Arkham series and the ones that y'all like, from worst to least, or worst to least, best to worst, worst to best, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. With all that said, let's get into it.
I've recently been playing through Arkham Asylum and Arkham City to record some Easter eggs for my top 100 Easter eggs in video game series. When playing through them for what is probably the 5th time, I had the idea of ranking all of the Arkham games beside Arkham Origins Blackgate because I've never played that one. This list was incredibly difficult to compile.
Okay, so Arkham Origins is not in this. But Arkham Origins is still an Arkham game, so not including it, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I thought I had the list figured out, I would start the next game and change my mind. Just to be clear, the worst game in the Batman Arkham series is still an amazing game. Oh, and I'll do my very best to keep spoilers to an absolute minimum. Now with that being said, let's get started.
So wait. Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins gets a lot of hate. People point towards the fact that it wasn't developed by Rocksteady, but Warner Bros.
Yeah, the fact that Arkham Origins wasn't developed by Rocksteady did suck. But it was good. I liked it. I like all of them. I don't think any of them are bad. You know? But this was fire. You had the cops after you. And you had to deal with the bad guys. You got that $50 million bounty on your head. You got all these niggas trying to get you. Let me share with the cursor. You got all these people in Gotham trying to come and grab you and kill you and stuff. Like, the idea of it was crazy. You know, some cops was after Batman because of the fact that he had that $50 million bounty on his head. It's crazy.
Brothers Montreal instead. It also didn't feature the voice work of Kevin Conroy as Batman and the awesome, and I mean awesome, Mark Hamill as the Joker. But having played through the game again for this video, it is still the amazing Arkham experience that we all know and love. It may not be as refined as the Rocksteady titles, but I for one prefer the plot in this game compared to the plot in Arkham Knight. The story sees you take on a younger, more reckless Batman. The game takes place before the events of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and features a who's who of Batman villains. Arkham Origins cleverly weaves these characters into the game by placing a bounty on your head, drawing out said villains and providing a pretty feasible reason as to why they'd all be in the same place on the same night.
Please, stop! Stop! I'll talk. I'll tell you anything you want to know, please!
Too late. I already have what I need.
No! Feels great.
A lot more emphasis has been placed on Batman's detective skills, which would require Batman to reconstruct a crime scene. I love these sections and personally felt that there wasn't enough of them in the game. Of course, the combat is the excellent combat you'd have been used to in the first two games. I don't think a combat mechanic has ever encapsulated a character more than the free-flow combat in the Arkham games. In some games, I'll actively avoid fights because the combat is weak. The complete opposite is true of the Arkham series, as I actively seek out the bad guys.
Now, one thing I like about the combat in this game, it was still pretty much the same combat from Arkham City, the Arkham City, and long story short, the Rocksteady style. It was the same thing. The only difference I seen in this game was that he had a stance, a fighting stance. You know, he used to get like this. You know, he'll put his fist up and be ready to fight. As in, in the old Batman games, the other ones that's from Rocksteady, he stands straight up. Like, I honestly think it looks better with him just standing up, or like Shield's chest out. You know, I like that better instead of him going like this, like anybody else. You know, like, yeah, I don't know. You know, but that's the only thing I say I dislike about the origin side is the fact that he had a fighting stance. Batman doesn't need a fighting stance, in my opinion.
Without going into spoiler territory too much, the story started strongly, with the Black Mask appearing to be the game's villain, but it ended up playing it safe and relying on a character we'd already fought in the first 2 Arkham games. For those that have played the game, know who I'm talking about. Another criticism I have, but one that could be levelled at all the Arkham games, besides Arkham Asylum, is that the city just felt lifeless. This has been an issue since Arkham City, but that was believable as it was basically a prison city, but it became more annoying later on in Arkham Knight.
With you? Are you crazy? We were answering the service call. I quit.
Ultimately, it felt as though Warner Bros. Montreal were held back here. It's obvious that Rocksteady were considered the A-team when it came to developing the Arkham games, and rightly so. But it's like Warner Bros. Montreal wanted to do so much more here, but they just weren't allowed because they couldn't mess with the game's canon. I also think the game suffered from Bioshock 2 syndrome. Now what I mean by that is, it was a follow-up to a critically acclaimed Game of the Year winner in Arkham City, and wasn't developed by the original studio. This means that, even if it was subconsciously, people had already formed an opinion on the game. Just as they had with Bioshock 2, which for my money is the second best Bioshock behind the original.
I mean, try something original. Back off!
Interestingly though, the servers are supposedly turned off for multiplayer. They were supposedly turned off back in 2016. But playing the game on Xbox One thanks to backwards compatibility, I was able to get into multiplayer matches. The multiplayer is nothing special, don't get me wrong, but it's worth trying at least once to see what you think. Again, even though this game is bottom of my list, it's the game I'm going to play again when this video is completed.
Dang, so Arkham Knight. So he said Arkham Knight was the worst. Not Arkham Knight. Arkham Origins was the worst one. I don't know why I said Arkham Knight. Maybe because I'm reading it. But yeah, Arkham Origins was fire. The one thing I could say is the Joker being in this game it was a good way to see the origin story of Batman and the Joker. You know, it was good. You know, but I ain't gonna say no more about it. I said what I had to say. I know how I feel about Arkham Origins. Let's move on to Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight was the first and so far only Batman game to appear on the PS4 and Xbox One wave of consoles, and it definitely looked it. The game looks amazing. Gliding through the city never felt or looked so good. This applied to the game's character models too, which all received an overhaul and looked fantastic. Arkham Knight was also the first...
I ain't gonna lie, the Batmobile being in this game was fire. The only thing I didn't really care for was like the battles and stuff, and it do get repetitive. Like the tank battles and stuff is literally the same thing. I did like the stealthy missions with the tank. I thought that was cool. You had to sneak up behind the big tanks and shoot the weak spot. Those of you that played this game know what I'm talking about. That was fire. But overall, the tank missions were they were very repetitive, you know. But it made this game unique because it was the only game that you can drive the Batmobile in it.
First time we got to drive the Batmobile, which was a polarising inclusion. Some people loved the Batmobile and felt that it was a final piece of the puzzle when it came to being Batman. Others, myself included, thought the game relied a little bit too much on the Batmobile. For example, a boss battle with one of Batman's biggest foes later on in the game took place entirely in the Batmobile. It's almost like Rocksteady wanted to squeeze the Batmobile into every part of the game possible. Despite this, tearing through Gotham with parts of the city crumbling away as you chase down a target was thrilling. It's just a pity we were forced into too many tank battle sections. The story saw you take on Scarecrow as he attempted to release fear toxin into Gotham City. You know how I said earlier that the cities felt lifeless? Well, the excuse for that in Arkham Knight is that the city was evacuated and the only people that remain are criminals. Now, I know that Batman has a strict no killing rule, but if Scarecrow is so intent on gassing Gotham's worst of the worst, couldn't he just let him? The titular Arkham Knight was also a bone of contention. Rocksteady really made a big deal of his identity and claimed he'd be a new character. He wasn't. Anyone who had any idea of the history of Batman knew who it was after an hour of playing. It was a real missed opportunity in my opinion. Rocksteady could have done something truly unique and perhaps create a villain all of their own, but they didn't.
Was always looking for new recruits. I hear the money's good too.
Okay, this next part is spoiler heavy. It features spoilers for Arkham Knight and Arkham City. I know I said I wouldn't go too deep into spoilers, but I feel that this needs to be discussed. If you want to skip this section, then go to the time on the screen. Okay, so Rocksteady made one of the bravest decisions in video game history when they killed off the Joker at the end of Arkham City. It was a move that nobody saw coming. They also then doubled down on this by having the player incinerate the Joker's corpse at the beginning of Arkham Knight. This was it, we all thought. They're going to have to use a different villain in Arkham Knight. Well, not quite. A flashback reveals that before the Joker died, his infected blood was used in blood transfusions, infecting 5 people including Batman. Due to this, and due to the exposure to the Scarecrow's fear toxin, the Joker frequently appears to taunt Batman. Now don't get me wrong, the Joker is one of the best bits of the Arkham games, and I loved every moment
Yeah, that is one thing I didn't like about Arkham Knight. Even though after the Joker died in Arkham City, they brought him back in a way that I would have never thought. Like, I thought that the Joker was going to be gone. Like, not even really that much mentioned in this game. But nah, them fear toxins and stuff like that Scarecrow had, and with Batman being infected from the Joker's blood, and so is the other people, the other 4 people, they were becoming the Joker. Like, his spirit was in them. And then Batman was seeing Joker all over the place while he was just talking to you and stuff. That was cool. But I do think the plots was the Batman and those 4 other people, most importantly Batman, turning into the Joker. Like, that was crazy. Like, Batman had to battle inside his head to get the Joker out of his head so that the Joker within him wouldn't take over and switch up on everybody in Gotham. That was crazy.
He was on screen in Arkham Knight, but if Rocksteady are going to make the ballsy move to kill him in Arkham City, then they should really stick to their guns. All this being said, Arkham Knight is still an amazing game. The open world, while lifeless from a pure population standpoint, is full of things to see and do. The combat is excellent and there is so much going on that it takes you ages to get bored. It's just a shame that what could have been the pinnacle of the Arkham series sadly fell slightly short in my opinion.
I never seen this. Yeah, Arkham Asylum was fire. Arkham Asylum, man. My favorite parts of this game when I first played it on the PS3 was the Scarecrow missions, like how you start hallucinating and stuff. You seen all different types of stuff. Then there's a gigantic Scarecrow in the middle of in the middle of wherever it is he was at, searching for you. You had to hide from him and stuff and get to the spotlight. That was my favorite part of the game. But other than that, I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed every one of them.
So this was the toughest decision for me. If you'd asked my opinion before playing the games again, I would have placed Asylum on top. But after revisiting each game, Asylum just misses out on top spot. I remember when Arkham Asylum was released all the way back in 2009, I hadn't paid any attention to it and assumed it would be another poorly developed licensed product. How wrong could I be? When I saw all the reviews coming in, sharing the games with 9s and 10s, I couldn't believe it. And after playing the game for the first time, I could see why everyone was going crazy for Arkham Asylum. I was Batman. For the first time, a game made me feel like the Dark Knight. I would walk into a room full of guards armed with baseball bats and knives and leave 2 minutes later with a pile of broken bones in my wake. I would enter an area of 7 armed guards and I knew that sooner or later I would have dealt with everybody in the room, slowly but surely increasing the fear in them as I took each thug out one by one.
Yeah, that was true. They used to freak out and stuff, like watching them freak out as you sneaking up behind them and stuff. And the other ones is panicking, looking all over the place, panicking and shooting nothing because they're so scared of Batman. I thought that was a good feature. Something I didn't even really pay attention to until he mentioned it. I ain't gonna lie. The details.
If any member of old Arkham wants to take up our special introductory offer of free cosmetic surgery...
The game began with you escorting Joker into Arkham Asylum to lock him up for what must be the 87th time.
In case I didn't realize, this is either the PS4 or the Xbox One version. This is the remastered version of Batman Arkham Asylum that he's showing. I just wanted y'all to know that. I recognize the graphics. The graphics is fire. I ain't never played this game on PS3 again once they put it on P4.
After an awesome introduction which sees you oversee the wheeling of the Joker into the facility, he breaks out and takes control of Arkham Asylum. It's up to you to figure out what the Joker's plans are and take back the asylum.
Get up! Now! Joker's loose. Alert the warden. Hurry! We're leaving him The joke's on you. Ta-da! Honey, I'm home.
Come on in.
Over the next 10 to 15 hours, you would lock horns with the likes of Bane, Victor Zsasz, Killer Croc, and probably most memorably, Scarecrow. This scene, where Batman is under the influence of the fear toxin, seriously made me think that my Xbox was broken.
I remember this part. Hold on, I'm gonna let y'all see. When I first seen that, because I was playing this on my PlayStation, on my PS3. That part, I thought my disc was scratched up. I was getting ready to eject that part. I was gonna eject the game out and look at the disc like, yo, is there a scratch on here? Like, it really made me want to do that. You know, that was unique. That I never seen. Like I said, that's part of the Scarecrow thing. The Scarecrow things was so unique. And another thing I remember, you know, I think I talked about this in a previous video, but I can talk about it again. Killer Croc's boss. That was scary. That had to have been the most horrifying game boss fight in any Batman Arkham game I've played. Killer Croc jumping out at you, the music bumping, he trying to throw you into the water while you down there trying to get those plant things. That was horrifying. Like, when I was younger, that really used to scare me. It's crazy, but those that played the Killer Croc boss fight in Arkham Asylum know what I'm talking about. That was scary as hell.
The asylum itself was a sprawling maze of dilapidated corridors and tons of areas inaccessible until you had the right gadgets. You could then backtrack to visit these areas to find Riddler trophies or, my favourite, interview tapes of Arkham inmates. These are sort of like audio diaries in Bioshock and provided some really cool and often creepy backsight into the villains you were fighting. For example, take a listen to Victor Zsasz's interview tapes.
Taped patient evaluation 5.
Now these tapes things, this is another unique thing. And also at Arkham Asylum, the pictures they have of each of the characters, they got the comic book type model, so that was unique as well. They took that away in Arkham City and so on. But these interview tapes was definitely something, because it was like, it's like you can imagine hearing them. Y'all know I'm bugging. Y'all can dead imagine them sitting at the table and talking and stuff like that with the interviewer and everything. Like, you can actually imagine it, and you get to see, like, I don't know, the evaluations. That was one thing I found interesting.
Victor is not responding well to treatment. Victor, yesterday we spoke about the people you killed.
Ah, the zombies.
They are all people, Victor.
They are zombies, continuously shuffling through the daily grind, waiting for someone to liberate them.
You mean kill them? The police report states that you've murdered, or liberated, if you like, 20 young women in the last 3 months. Each had her throat slit and was left posed.
They were all lucky to be chosen to receive my gift.
I doubt they would agree with you.
Really? How about you, Miss Cassidy? As you take the elevator to your apartment each night, open the 6 locks to apartment 433. Remember you forgot to buy your cat food. Again?
How How do you know where
As you sit down on your favorite red chair, cat on lap, just waiting for something to happen. I can make it happen, Sarah. I am your salvation.
That was
Being the
crazy.
first game in the Arkham series, we also got our first look at Batman's detective mode. This allowed you to survey your surroundings and track enemies. Amusingly, it also allowed you to check on the enemy's heart rate, which had increased the more you took down their buddies. It's a testament as to how good this game
Wait,
is.
so you couldn't check their heart rate? I didn't even peep that when I was playing the game. I did catch the part that says nervous, but you can actually see their heart rate. I never paid that on my... Wow. That is a unique function right there. I'm over here learning things about a game I've been playing for years while watching, or better yet, reacting to a video. Oops, wrong button.
I've completed it 5 times now of its various versions. It's a masterpiece in game design, and I think everybody should play it.
Joker was right. I found someone! Come on, wake up!
Arkham City.
So Arkham City, rather unsurprisingly, takes top spot. It expands on everything that Arkham Asylum did and then makes it better. The story sees you enter Arkham City, a maximum security walled off section of Gotham, which houses the city's most dangerous criminals. Hugo Strange is the villain this time and aims to initiate Protocol 10. It is up to you as Batman to find out what Protocol 10 is and to stop Strange. The plot is full of twists and turns and a pretty cool curveball ending which I'd hate to ruin, so I'll leave the plot details here. It also had a pretty unique opening with you taking control of Bruce Wayne as he's chucked into Arkham City. As I said, City refined everything that Arkham Asylum did, with more gadgets, more varied locations, more villains and more side quests. I can't quite put my finger on why Arkham City is so good. It may be down to the fact that this was the first game that let you glide around a city as Batman. The boss battles were incredible, particularly the Mr. Freeze boss battle where he would adapt to your tactics. If you had
Yeah, the Mr. Freeze boss battle was crazy. You know, especially if you played the New Game Plus and fight him in the New Game Plus version, that you gotta really like use your mind, because Mr. Freeze, he'll like he said, he'll adapt to everything you do, and he'll make it harder for you to basically you hit him with one move, you gotta hit him a different way the next time. It's crazy. You can't take him on in a straight up fight because he'll beat you to a pulp. But I ain't gonna lie, Batman cannot take on Mr. Freeze by himself in a straight up fight, and he knew that, so he had to play it smart. But this game overall was also fire. Every one of them was fire. I know I said that so many times, but this game was crazy. They got the freaking Arkham City, was basically a prison in a city. The whole city was the prison. That was crazy. Nothing but crazy people walking around. Bruce Wayne gets arrested and gets thrown in this city. But little did they know he's Batman. That was crazy. You know, and then here comes Hugo Strange with his Protocol 10. He wanted to eliminate all the criminals in here with this, make it seem like they was making a massive escape, and had the whole Tiger forces with their helicopters and their guns and all that come and kill all of them. So he wanted to he was going to kill everybody in that. Hugo Strange is evil for that. And Ra's al Ghul. You know, because he really brought all these criminals together to kill all of them. Like, no, you shouldn't do. We all know that's wrong, you know. But story writing wise, I would say this game is up there.
attacked him in the same way twice, he'd be expecting it and be ready for you next time. It made you make full use of Batman's arsenal in order to take him down. After completing the main storyline, you also had the chance to take control of Catwoman, who came with her own unique moveset and missions. Playing the combat challenges as the super agile Catwoman is so much fun. Listen, I'm not a game reviewer, that much is clear, but if you only ever listen to one thing I say about video games, let it be this: play Arkham City. You won't regret it. So that's it. That's how I would rank the Arkham games. As I said, they're all fantastic games, and I'd love to hear your opinion.
I think he got more videos that I can react to. I'm gonna check out this guy's channel What's his channel? Captain Excellent. I've heard of you. Good video, bro. I hope you don't mind. I react to more of your videos. I'm gonna look at your channel. You know. But other than that, I would say the worst game. See, it's hard because Batman Arkham is all good. This is really a hard decision. And I can't go with saying Arkham Origins was the worst one because I thought they were all good. But that's boring. I gotta tell y'all what it is. So, I would say the worst one. Number 5. How many Arkham games is Arkham City, Asylum, Knight, and Origin? So it's 4 games. Gotham Knights didn't even make this shit. It's not an Arkham game. I'll say Arkham Asylum for the least. And the reason why I say Arkham Asylum is because the fighting styles isn't as upgraded. It wasn't as up to date. Since that was the first Batman game, the fighting styles wasn't up to date with Arkham City and Arkham Knights. Like, say if they put Arkham Knights fighting style and all the upgrades and all of that in Arkham Asylum, it would be harder. But since Arkham Asylum was the original to it, it's up there. But once you get used to the newer, faster upgrades and all that, you go back to Arkham Asylum, you start to see a difference. Like, Batman fights more slower and stuff like that. So for combat reasons is the reason why I would say Arkham Asylum being ranked number 4 out of, you know. And for number 3 spot, I would say, this is hard. I'll say Arkham Origins. And the reason why I say Arkham Origins is because really no reason. I'm just going off the top of my head. I ain't gonna lie. Like, there's literally no valid reason. You know, and number 2, I would say it's a battle between Arkham Knight and Arkham City. Because, like, if Arkham Knight didn't abuse the Batmobile, it would be number 1. So it's gonna have to be number 2. The Batmobile thing, I liked it, but I didn't like it that much. It was good, but it wasn't like, it wasn't something I really cared for, me personally. So yeah, I would also give Arkham City up to number 1 because of the story and stuff with Hugo Strange with the Protocol 10 and all of that, trying to kill everybody. That was crazy. But overall, I like all of these games. I would play all of them. Like, I like them so much, I would replay all the games on my channel. If that's what y'all want to see, I would replay all of them in order. I would go from Arkham Origins, since that was before Arkham Asylum, technically, the timeline-wise, and then go to Arkham Asylum, and then I would do that, or I would stream myself playing it, you know. So yeah, I think streaming that would be better. But that's if y'all want to check me out on there. Other than that, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna check out some more videos to react to from this guy. Shout out to him. I appreciate him making these videos, and I hope you see my videos, bro, and I hope you don't be offended that I reacted to him. You have a good one, all of y'all. And let me know your favorite Arkham game.